Hello there folks, and welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash, I'm the curator of this channel, and of course this is a place where us chaps come together to talk about lifestyle, self-development tips, anything that will help us on our journey to being the best chaps that we can be. Now today I was in work, driving around in the car, and I was thinking, what is it that has had the greatest impact on the way that I dress, on the way that I present myself, the way I like to portray myself to the public, to the community, the people who encounter me every day. And the thing that I filtered it down to, when I thought about it over the entirety of my life, was probably the 10 years, early years in my life that I spent in the British military. As a young man, I joined the RAF and I spent 10 years in the RAF, and I got sort of indoctrinated into that militaristic uniformity, all things like that. And I made a list, and I've got a list here. When I was having a tea break, I was making a list of the things why adopting a military attitude to being stylish can be a positive thing when it comes to dressing as a chap, as an elegantly stylish gentleman. So the first tip I've written down here is look after your kit. So that's one of the first things which is drummed into you when you join the military and you're issued a uniform. It's impressed upon you. That's your equipment. You look after it. You repair the buttons. You repair the rips as they come along, and that way, not only will you look very sharp and stylish, which is true. It's all about looking good. If you're watching this channel, you're interested in presenting yourself well, being well turned out, and if you adopt that military attitude to looking after your kit, not only will you look your best, but your kit will last you a lot longer. Be that your shirts, your suits, your shoes particularly. Invest in time and effort in maintaining your equipment is something that will pay you back many times over the years. Another tip I've made here, tip number 2, is have a shoe care regime. Now, obviously, being in the military, they put great stead on, the visible things that you can see that you've taken time and effort to present yourself well. And shoes, or boots, whatever you choose to wear, is one of those things which people automatically, when they first meet somebody, they look you from head to toe, they look at what you're wearing on your feet, they will look at the way that you've maintained that footwear and how you've delivered it to them, presented it to them that day. If you've got a mirror shine on your shoes, the first thing that somebody will think, this is somebody who's squared away and knows how to look after themselves. And if you carry that forward, they can look after the details professionally, socially, whatever. So the way that you present yourself, very important when it comes to your footwear. So have a shoe care regime. You've seen, I've done a video in the past, which I will link to here, where you see me going through the different stages of maintaining a pair of boots so that they always look tip-top. You will hardly ever find an occasion where I'm out and about without shoes that aren't looking their very best and haven't got a shine on them. It'll be a very rare day that you find me wearing dirty or unpolished footwear. So build a regime for yourself, and make sure that when you wear a pair of shoes, you polish them or you condition them so that next time you wear them, they're going to be looking spot on. Curate a little collection of shoe care products. I talked about Sapphire being the best shoe care product that I've encountered so far. Build a little collection of polishes, conditioning cream, things like that can nourish and protect your footwear, so that it's no hardship to polish your shoes and look your very best. Because I assure you, it's one of the things that people do. They look down, they look at those shoes, because it's one of the easiest visual ways to tell if somebody looks after themselves and dresses well. The other thing I've written here, pay attention to the personal grooming, all right? You can guarantee, if today's the day you get up and you think, do you know what, I can't be bothered to have a shave today, that is the day that you're likely to meet somebody who would have an undue influence on the rest of your life. A potential new boss, a potential friend, a potential girlfriend, a life partner. And the impression they will have, here's a scruffy chap who hasn't even bothered to shave today. So for me, part of my regime, a bit like in the military, every day I get up, I would have a shave. In the military, they do it, for tradition. Also, it looks smart, and for practical reasons. You know, when you're wearing a gas mask, for instance, for that gas mask to have a perfect seal against your face, it's best to be clean shaven. So it can be a life and death thing in the military. That's why they check that you've shaved. You know, when you're on parade in the mornings, they look at the way you've dressed. They can tell that you've looked after your kit, that you're well turned out, that you've had a shave. These don't just have, you know, the most minor cosmetic appearances because they want everybody to look the same. There are genuine reasons why adopting a military attitude can make you look your best. So paying attention to the personal grooming when it comes to shaving, when it comes to, you know, having a shower perhaps after you've been to the gym. You know, always try and make sure that you're presented in the best possible way, as if when you walk around the corner, you're going to meet somebody who could have an impact upon your life. Another thing I've written here, look in the mirror before you leave the house. You know, how many times, I hope it's never happened to you, it's happened to me once or twice, where you go to work, you get up, you go through your normal routine, you go to work, 10 o'clock in the morning, you go to the toilet, as you're washing your hands, you look in the mirror and you've got a big smear of toothpaste or shaving cream up the side of your face that you didn't notice. You've been working in an open plan office and you know, nobody's told you because they're too embarrassed to bring it to your attention, and yet you've given the impression that you're somebody who clearly hasn't looked in the mirror that day. You don't pay that much attention to the way that you look. So please, before you leave the house, look in the mirror, make sure you're looking smart. You know, in the army, in the RAF, wherever, often at the guard room there is a full-size mirror on the wall, so that before you leave you can take a good look at yourself to make sure you're looking pin sharp, so that when people see you they'll think the best. And that goes for any walk of life where you're aiming to make a good impression. What else have I put? Next tip, think of your clothes as your uniform. It is the signature way in which you will be perceived by the people that you meet. It's an extension of your personality, is it not? So for me, my sort of signature look is kind of traditional, you know, kind of conservative. I'm the sort of guy who does wear a collar and tie and a jacket or a suit when I'm going to a meeting, when I'm working with other professionals. I'm that guy. I'm not the guy who sets the boundary low, doesn't wear a collar and tie, you know, will wear shorts in the summertime. That's not me. There's a time and a place for dressing like that, and for me, it's not within my profession. So my signature style is almost like a uniform to me, and people will know that when I'm dressed and I'm looking like that, you know, I mean business. So that's why I say, think of your clothes as a uniform. You know, treat them as such. Make sure that that is the way that your signature style will be taken by the people you encounter. Because ultimately, you know, don't be mistaken into thinking that dressing down to the standard of your co-workers is something which is going to benefit you. And that probably goes to my next tip here. And that is, aim to be the smartest man in the room. But I'd say take that a point further, going back to what I just said. Don't be afraid to be the smartest man in a room. You know, if you think you're going to go into a meeting, you're walking around the corner, it's an open plan office, you can see the people that you're going to be having a meeting with. None of them are wearing ties, they've all got open collar shirts, but you're dressed smartly, you're wearing a tie. You think to yourself, ooh, I'll just nip around the corner and take my tie off because I don't want to stand out in this group of people. I don't want to sort of elicit greater scrutiny on my appearance. I say to you, why not? Why be ashamed to be the best dressed man in that room? Don't be afraid of it. Ultimately, when you walk there, they will look at you and think, wow, I wish I'd worn a tie. This guy has set the standard high. So don't be afraid to do that. Ultimately, in the military, you know, they're not ashamed to wear their uniforms in public. In fact, wearing a uniform in public elicits sort of congratulations from the public these days, because people will see, you know, a service person, a patriot, somebody who's serving their country, and that is something that we should respect. And if you're well dressed, well turned out, people will respect you because you've gone to that effort and set a higher standard. And the final note I've made here is, you know, when I've done these things, when I have, you know, worn my clothes in such a fashion that it almost becomes my professional uniform, my shoes are well turned out, you know, I've done all of these things, people have said to me in the past, they've come up to me, they looked at the way I dressed, and they've said to me, were you in the forces? And I've always taken that as an enormous compliment, because to me it says people acknowledge that I have adopted an almost militaristic way, an attention to detail, a pride in my appearance to the way that I dress as I go about my life. And I take that as an enormous compliment. And if anybody ever says that to you, you should say, no, I don't. I'm just somebody, I've never been in the military, but I adopt their same sensibilities when it comes to presenting myself in the best possible light. And that will see people respecting you and actually probably asking you for comments and tips on how they can improve their style as well. So you can become a bit of a style guru in your sort of sphere of influence. So, how's that sound? These are just some of my tips on why I think, adopting a military attitude to the way that you dress can have positive impact on your civilian life and the way that you dress in the civilian world. If you take issue to anything I've said, or if you agree with me, and if you're an ex-serviceman and still dress like you were in the military and it's played positive impact to you in life, let me know in the comments below. I'd be delighted to hear from you. Thanks for listening today. If you wish to support the channel, don't forget to click the like button, because it's great for me to know that you're enjoying what I put out there. And also click that notification bell, because that way, and subscribe of course, because that way you won't miss anything we do in the future, because we're doing this together. We're on this Chap's journey together. I value your input, whatever it may be, whether it's just a click of the like button or a comment below, but I really do listen to what you say, and I will learn and expand our content as we go forward based on that. So thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video very soon.